Hello Aries, this is Victoria and I'm here with your January tarot forecast. As always, we'll be looking at your love life, your career and workspace, and we'll get you guidance on how to utilize the energy of the months of January from the universe. At the end, I'll post messages from your person of interest to yourself, so stick around for that. And we will begin with a quick oracle message from the Sacred Traveler deck. So without further ado, let's get started. I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you have awesome time for the holidays. So far, we've seen quite a lot of energy of renewal, or kind of being at the end of a cycle in this as the year approaches the end, and then being ready to turn the leaf. So let's see what we have for you today. Oh, for those who are new, welcome. There is a bunch of information in the description box about my content and services, and I appreciate it for you guys to subscribe, especially because I'm gonna be doing a full moon reading in a couple of days, maybe even the following day from when I post this video. It's gonna be a full moon in Cancer on January 3rd, and there will be messages for each individual zodiac sign there, as well as the collective themes, so you don't want to miss that. All right, let's see. I have a lovely husky now looking at me. It's so adorable. Oh my god. This is briefly how I'm spending my holidays. Wow, you saw me shuffling. I just had this card in Aquarius reading. So very interesting, right? Maybe watch Aquarius reading. By the way, these readings are for Sun, Moon, and Rising Aries. So if you're watching for a Sun sign, please check out videos for other placements as well. And nobody says you cannot check videos as cross watchers for your significant other. Love flows through you and to you. For Aquarius, I was actually talking about heart chakra awakening and opening. It doesn't have, like, awakening doesn't mean that you're just getting started, but it's a process that happens in stages as we advance, as we clear out our energy field, and we have more capacity to give and receive love. So this is like that next level acceleration that is happening for you in January, or you will be able to see the results of it in January. That's also a possibility. So one thing I would say is during this week, I'm posting videos with my mental health insights for 2025. So I highly recommend that you either watch them on my other channel, Mindful Bamboo, there is a link in the description box, or you subscribe to my Instagram account and I post them there as well. All right, let's get into tarot and see in more detail what's going on. All right. Wow, cards are flying today. All right, so for your personal space and love life, wow, we're starting with Three of Swords, but I will unpack this once I lay out the whole spread. The Empress, you could be dealing with a Taurus. Three of Wands. Now, for your professional space, you have Two of Pentacles. You have Seven of Wands. Six of Cups. And finally, the advice from the universe. Wow, Four of Wands. Dum, da, da, da. I know a lot of people are looking forward to getting this card. This is like soulmate connection card. Death. Wow. Sometimes soulmate connections come to an end, by the way. But again, I'll speak to it. Death is Scorpio energy. And finally, we have Seven of Swords. Looks like some secrets are gonna come out. Bottom of the deck, Three of Pentacles. In this particular deck, Three of Pentacles is telling us about leadership, about teaching, and you establishing that role essentially as somebody who shares the learning, the wisdom. Don't keep it to yourself, share it. There are a lot of people that can benefit from your knowledge during this time. And especially if you've been getting that nudge that you feel like it's time somehow to share, whether it's online or actually in an educational establishment, or even at, like, I don't know, monthly community meetings with the locals of a certain club. It doesn't matter, but whatever that nudge was, it didn't just happen by mistake, you know? It happened for a reason. This is your confirmation that you're supposed to take action on it. All right, so let's see. For the personal space, you've got the Three of Swords, the Empress, and the Three of Wands. So there's definitely desire to start fresh and start in a more of a position of power. And by the way, your energy, Aries, is the Emperor, and this is the Empress. So this is like a match for an Emperor. So yeah, I don't see this as you, but this is a match that you're looking for, you know, that is gonna be, that you don't have to pretend like you're a good match, that you actually naturally are a good match. And of course, this is a collective reading, so it will mean something different for each of you. But importantly, of course, we have the Three of Swords here, so it's, you don't want the heartbreak to happen because of the gap, you know, because it's just like we're both in the previous relationship, we both tried to sort of close the gap or do our best to, you know, to understand the other person, to be there, to meet them there, but it was just too much of a stretch, and eventually we got tired of it, and there was a heartbreak. But now, first of all, in this deck, the Three of Swords has this healing energy of the sun. You can treat it as fire, maybe warming it up, you know. So healing is in progress, right? And it's very important to set certain criteria for what is it that you're looking for in a partner. What does that Empress vibe mean to you? And by the way, it's not about masculine and feminine, you know. For Aries of any gender, their energy is the Emperor. For Taurus of any gender, their energy is Empress. But this doesn't have to be Taurus, by the way, right? So we're talking about energies, not genders. You could be a woman looking for a man, and this would still make sense, right? The point is, like I said, that it's a match to that level of wisdom, of empathy, of royalty, really, right? When you don't have to prove anything to anyone, you're just embracing the power and you're walking in that energy. There's a very different vibe to it. And you can watch some videos of royals, maybe even not the, I mean, you can watch the real life royals, of course, but also even the movies, you know, about like older days, all other centuries. And, you know, when royals walk into the room, what happens? What happens, how they position themselves, what happens with everyone else in the room, right? Get the vibe and set your expectations. What are your non-negotiables? What is it that you're looking for? You know, within reason, of course, but something that is, you understand, is so important to you. And it's okay if it comes on the tail of like, okay, we had this problem in my previous relationship and now I don't want to have that problem, so I'm gonna put it into non-negotiables. That's fine. That's part of your learning experience, that now you know that this is something very important to you. Okay, for the working space, we have Two of Pentacles, Seven of Wands, Six of Cups. So it seems like you got or the job got too serious for a minute, right? It's like the stakes are high, the clients are serious, there are some risks, and it requires all your energy, all your attention, to the point where it got very hard to juggle all your responsibilities and maybe juggle between the job and the rest of your life, like the work-life balance, essentially, right? So this is the time to reclaim the part in this job, in this occupation, that really brings you joy, that brings out the best in you, that doesn't just take, but it also gives you something, right? And this is also about boundaries, by the way, where you're establishing your territory, where it's like, I don't know, whether it's about overtime or, you know, somebody being too personal with you at a workplace, or, you know, anything of that sort. Maybe somebody getting too familiar, where it's not appropriate or you're not comfortable. Any and all should be voiced, and, you know, that is in your space to be resolved, and for you to establish that this is part of the ground rules, you know. It's like, it shouldn't really maybe said out loud, but for some people it has to be. So it's like added to the, what's it called? To like the memorandum or the chapter or the contract, right? So the person can read it for themselves before we even start working together, and we don't have to go there. And another interesting part here with the Six of Cups is that somehow your childhood interests are being brought up. It's possible if you're getting together with family for the holidays, or you're on vacation and you decide to, I don't know, to play a sport or even a board game that you used to play as a child. Something like that, something innocent like that, how it comes back to you. Maybe you're watching a movie and you're like, oh my God, we used to do this all the time when we were kids. There is something there, some kind of a clue of how you can use that energy, that approach, that mood, or maybe the technique itself in what you're currently doing. Something innovative is beneath the surface there. Do with it what you will. And then finally the advice. Yeah, so truly people get so excited when they see four of wands, and of course they're thinking about getting together with your soulmate, the love of your life, you know. First of all, soulmates mean so much more than that. They can be romantic love interests, they can be friends, can be teachers, students, even parents and children, honestly. The main point is that you keep getting attracted to each other, you're magnetized towards each other. It's something that you find irresistibly interesting about the other person, right? And sometimes it's positive, it's based on love, it's like it has a happy ending to it, and usually those people stay with you for the lifetime. In others, it's not necessarily that healthy, but there's still some lesson there. And it's not to get you into guilt and shame mode, because at the beginning we don't always see all sides of the person's personality, their traits of character, their choices. We don't know, simply. So there's a good chance that you find out at a much later point what they really are like, especially with the Seven of Swords here. Some secrets come to life, right? And it creates an ending. It doesn't have to be complete ending, of course. It can be transformation of the relationship, but definitely there is a big meaning here with learning the lesson, right? And then it's up to you to decide. I would just say don't stay too long. That's a mistake that so many people are making, especially if it's a love interest. It's like, no, we're gonna work on this, because people remember we used to have all those great times together. We used to be so madly in love with each other. It couldn't just disappear, right? It doesn't happen that way. But that's a story. I mean, maybe it's been harmless for a while, that story, right? But it's important for you to be able to detach and recognize that that's a story. Maybe it's gonna challenge your belief system, and you've believed that, there's just one person for you, and you're supposed to be together for the rest of your life, and this is that person, right? Something will need to change in that storyline. But regardless of whether this is a complete breakup or just changing the nature of the relationship, by the way, this could mean also we aren't going to be friends anymore, we're going to be romantic partners, right? We're closing that chapter of friendship and we're opening something new or something deeper, right? So don't be put off by the death card, but there's definitely a transformation here, and it involves that other person. All right, last but not least, let's get some messages for Aries from their personal interest. Okay, let's see. The first card was Five of Swords, so I'll pick it as a main card, clarified by Five of Wands and Seven of Wands. Okay, 2 5s. So again, the change. Your person is definitely trying to embrace the change, where the way they word it is they make better choices in choosing people for close relationships and building trust with people, right? Because it feels like they're opening up, and they're trying to be vulnerable, and they trust, and they're being generous, and it comes back around and bites them, because that person turns out was never really interested in it, or that person is not worthy because they actually are manipulative and not honest on their side. So this person is like at a loss right now. How do I even tell? How do I now trust again? Again, also question of boundaries. You had that card, I think, yes, with your workspace, and your person has it, maybe in a different context. But looks like something that the two of you could share with each other and support each other that way. Maybe that's the soulmate connection, to help with the boundary building, even if it's in different areas of your life. The foundations are the same. So I don't see this as something that has to do with you specifically, but like I always say, if it impacts their personal space, it inevitably impacts your relationship as well, because it is intimate and personal. So just remember not to take it personally. That's a different thing. Okay, I am gonna end it here. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, bye.